We will call the meeting to order for our July 2026 Seaman School Board meeting. We will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. And let's go with Keith. Start us off.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everybody. I need an adoption of the agenda, please.
I so move.
Second. Been moved by Michelle, seconded by Donna. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, raise a hand and say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Public communications.
Laura Smith and Kathy Finch together on the same.
Okay, let me just read this really quick. The public comment portion of the board meeting will allow 3 minutes per speaker. Persons wishing to speak to the board must pre-register at the meeting with the board clerk. For board policy, speakers must meet one of the following criteria to address the board at a board meeting: district residents, district business owners, district employees, or parents / guardians of a student in the district. Persons not meeting the public comment criteria may submit comments via an online form. Public comment is the time for district patrons to address the board. Please do not intercede during board discussion of agenda items unless specifically asked by the board or administration. Communications must not address students or personnel. If speakers have concerns in this area, please make an appointment with the superintendent. Per board policy, I'm almost done. The board asks groups with the same interest to appoint a spokesperson to deliver the group's message. But except to ask clarifying questions, board members shall not interact with speakers at the open forum. Speakers will be asked to limit their time to 3 minutes to allow for all participants time to address the board.
And that was not part of your time.
That was not part of your time. And I'm sorry, Candace, can you say their names again?
Laura Smith, Kathy Finch.
Laura and Kathy, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I'm Laura Smith. I'm the president of Topeka North Outreach. I hope most of you have heard of us, but we do kind of fall under the radar at times. We're a completely volunteer, nonprofit, Christian-based organization, and we are made up of about 20 churches in the North Topeka area. We are chartered to serve in many different ways the neighborhoods of Oakland and North Topeka. But our biggest project is Operation Backpack, which provides weekend food sacks to about 700 kids every week in the Seaman School District and the 3 501 schools in Oakland. These weekend food sacks contain nutritious foods that the kids can make themselves, non-perishable, things like microwavable soup mixes and granola bars, protein bars, things like that. We try not to put junk food in them. But these sacks are given out every Friday or the last day before the weekend, before the kids go home. So they have something to eat over the weekend. We know that hungry kids are not good students. They're not going to be good contributors to society. So we want to make sure they have something in their stomachs. Since 2008, this project has been going on. We started out assembling these food sacks once a month over in what's now the Mathis Early Learning Center. We outgrew that area because we now have to put together about 3,000 sacks every month, brown paper sacks. And we have been using, for the past 10 years or so, we've been using the gymnasium at Indian Creek School. It was perfect for our purposes. We had a big open space where we could have assembly line process to put all of the sacks together. We were able to get it done, 3,000 sacks in about an hour and a half. We have about 50 to 75 volunteers that help us with this assembly every month. We do it the first Thursday of the month at 6 p.m. And having that gymnasium was so helpful because we had plenty of parking for the volunteers. no steps to climb, getting in and out. We had enough room to have all of the food delivered in, like the week before we had the food sack assembly. And that's a lot of food. And so we were able to store that in the gymnasium. We did the assembly in the gymnasium. We didn't have to tear any tables down. We could leave everything up. We did all of the maintenance of that gymnasium, keeping it clean. We were able to store all of the assembled sacks in that area in big blue tubs.
You can finish your sentence. Finish your thought, please.
And the volunteers that make the deliveries to the schools were able to go in and out of the school as needed to get their tubs and take them to the schools each week.
Thank you. I don't have a lot to add, but I just want to say that this is a very important mission that we serve. And we truly appreciate Seaman over the past few years, the district allowing us to use that building. And it has been truly a blessing. We do have anywhere from 50 to 100 volunteers each month when we go and fill the sacks. And we hear from everybody how good it feels to be able to provide these sacks to the kids and get those out to them. And so we appreciate your consideration of possibly repairing that building so we can continue to use it. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy and Laura. Moving on. This one.
Yes, it's a
Madam
resolution.
President, could I ask a question?
I'm sorry.
Could I ask a question?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. Have you guys looked anywhere else yet? Do you have any other ideas? You know, I'm just curious if
I've been trying to get an answer from someone as to what the future of the building was before the series started.
Okay.
I've been literally trying to envision another space. As big as a gymnasium that we can have completely to our own purposes and not have to carry stuff in and out all the time.
Okay, that's fair. Thank you, Christy.
Thank you.
He suggested the office building, but it's not available.
Right.
Okay, moving on, let's see, home rule, resolution to establish home rule by Board of Education. I have another long paragraph to read. Okay, whereas the Board of Education of Unified School District number 345, Shawnee County, Kansas, has determined that the exercise of powers granted by the legislature is of benefit to the board and local patrons, and whereas Kansas law authorizes the board to transact all school district business, and whereas the board intends to adopt policies that the board deems appropriate to perform its constitutional duty to maintain, develop, and operate local public schools, and whereas the board acknowledges that the power granted by law shall not be construed to relieve the board from any obligations to comply with state law, and whereas the board acknowledges that the powers granted by law and this resolution shall not be construed to relieve any other unit of government of its duties and responsibilities prescribed by law, and whereas the board acknowledges that the powers granted by law do not create any responsibility on the part of the district to assume the duties or responsibilities that are required of another unit of government. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Education of Unified School District number 345, Shawnee County, Kansas, that the board shall exercise the power granted by law and by this resolution. And I just need.
I move that we approve the resolution as presented.
Sorry.
Moved by Michelle, seconded by Keith. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your hand and say aye. Aye, opposed, same sign. Motion carries. July is when we reorganize the board. So should I just read this, Mr. Wilson? The superintendent will conduct the election of the board president. The newly elected president will resume control of the meeting and preside over the rest of the agenda.
So we will take nominations for president until there are no more, and we'll close those. And then we can vote for those that have been nominated. It takes at least a vote of 4 to determine a president. And after we're done with that, the president will run the election for vice president.
I make a motion to appoint or elect Donna McGinty as board president.
I second the motion.
So we have one moved and seconded. Any other nominations? Any discussion prior to vote? I think she took it. All
Second.
right. Do you want to do the vote? Candace, just as a formality for the president?
Keith Griffin,
Aye. Oh, you just have to raise right hand for, you just have to have them vote for normal on it. They don't have to do roll call.
favor.
Raise your hand.
I,
Thank you.
Voted.
Thank you.
She's not used to that.
So Donna, yes,
Get to.
we get to present this to our outgoing and then you can gavel in as president.
See, well, it's been a pleasure to serve as your vice president.
Been a great
Great
partner in crime.
work partners and friends
And-
over the last couple of years. Thank you.
Thank you, Mia. Appreciate it. And Donna, you may have your seat. I'm happy to give it to you.
Better switch this because
Never know.
my system.
That's right.
I don't know what it is, but I got one.
We just do a similar process for
Okay,
vice president.
so we'll take nominations.
Yes.
Nominations for vice president are open.
I'd like to, go ahead.
I'd like to nominate myself. But second,
Second.
okay. Any other nominations? Sorry.
Nope.
All right, same, oh, actually, you can call the vote.
So all in favor of Braden serving as vice president, raise your right hand and say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign? Okay.
Oh. It's like, you have to move down again. It's like you're going down the ladder there, Christie.
I take my original seat by Candace.
All right, so we're just gonna run down through this. Establish a monthly meeting date, time and place. Approve the Seaman USD 345 Board of Education to meet at the Seaman Education Center in the Ann Minahan Boardroom on the second Monday of each month at 6 p.m. and any regular scheduled meeting may be adjourned to another time and place when necessary. Do I have a motion to accept that?
So moved. Second.
Been moved by Diana and seconded by Christy. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor, raise your hand and say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay. We need to read through each of these.
Yeah, that's probably best.
Appointments by the Board of Education. Candace Leduc, Board Clerk. Lisa Miranda, Treasurer. Marty Neinstedt, Hearing Officer. Tanner Smith, Alternate Hearing Officer. David R. Cooper of Fisher Patterson, Saylor and Smith LLP School District Attorney. Brad Wilson, Authorized Impact Aid Representatives and File Impact Aid Section 8003 application. Deidre Rains, Coordinator for Homeless and Foster Care Children Duties. Tanner Smith, Capers Designated Agent. Building Principals, Truancy Officers. Tanner Smith, Compliance Coordinator for Federal Anti-Discrimination Laws. Candace Leduc, Freedom of Information Officer. Do I have a motion?
Madam President, oh, go ahead.
She can have it.
Go ahead, Christie.
I make a motion to approve the appointments as presented.
I'll say.
It's been moved by Christie and seconded by Keith. All in favor, discussion. Kyle, excuse me, by Kyle. We have to separate you guys. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
I got my password changed without Candace, so thank you for that correction.
Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, so Mr. Wilson, we're gonna read through each of
Do you want me
these.
to do that?
That's fine.
Okay.
And if there's any explanations, I'll leave
Yep.
that to you.
So just because we've added some things to disposition of business by consent, wanted to make sure that we formally read each of those. Some of them are the same ones we normally do, but I'll read through all of them quickly to make sure that some of the unique ones to this board meeting, being the reorganization meeting, are hit explicitly for those that are listening, or also make sure they're in the minutes. So disposition of business by consent, which would include minutes, personnel report, donations and grants, credit card, financial items, claims, designating Metro News as the district newspaper for publication of school notices, adopting of the 1,116-hour school year, adopting Silverlink Bank as the depository of district funds and security requirements, authorizing the Seaman USD 345 board clerk, board president, and board vice president to sign checks, establish petty cash limits of 500 for preschool, alternative school, and elementary schools, 1,000 for the middle school, and 1,500 for the high school, approve the reimbursement rate for mileage with privately owned vehicles at the federal mileage rate, designate the director of business and finance to pay bills in advance of any board meeting in order to avoid a penalty for late payment or to take advantage of any early payment discount, exemption from GAAP auditing requirements resolution, the wellness policy that are there. And then I am going to read the resolution for exemption from GAAP. Resolution, it's 2026-702, whereas Seaman Unified School District number 345, Topeka, Kansas, has determined that the financial statements and financial reports for the year ending 30 June 2027 to be prepared in conformity with the requirements of KSA 75-1120AA are not relevant to the requirements of the cash basis and budget laws of the state and are of no significant value to the Board of Education or the members of the general public of Seaman Unified School District number 345. And whereas there are no revenue bond ordinances or other ordinances or resolutions of said municipality which require financial statements and financial reports to be prepared in conformity with KSA's 75-1120 AA for the year ending 30 June 2027. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Education of Seaman Unified School District, Topeka, Kansas, in regular meeting duly assembled on this 13th day of July 2026, that the Board of Education waives the requirements of KSA 75-1120 AA as they apply to Seaman Unified School District number 345 for the year ending 30 June 2027. Be it further resolved by the that the Board of Education shall cause the financial statements and financial reports of Seaman Unified School District number 345 to be prepared on the basis of cash receipts and disbursements as adjusted to show compliance with the cash basis and budget laws of the state. And so that is your consent agenda.
So I need a motion.
Madam President, I move to accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second. It's been moved by Diana and seconded by Braden. Any discussion?
Yeah, I'd like to discuss item L. Has that been a real problem in the past? And I'm thankful that we're bringing it forward now, but.
That's
how long has
actually
this been going on.
That's actually a board policy that we have. And so we have talked about, we always in our, reorganization meeting, talk about, gas, those types of things. But the reality of it is you have a board policy already that authorizes, the superintendent or designee to, pay bills ahead of time or on time to avoid penalties or to get, discounts. So this is just reinforcing that and making it more broader than what we've said in the past, but it's already been board policy in the past.
I'm all supportive of saving money, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, no, this is not different than what we've done in the past.
Any other discussion? All in favor, you raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Okay, committee updates, Mr. Wilson, I'm gonna have you talk about this. I
Sure.
did notice one thing. I think Keith, since you came on board, I don't know if you've had opportunity or not to join any committees, if you have a preference. I just noticed your name wasn't in there, so.
I flow with the name.
Yeah. So you attended the, capital outlay long range plan committee,
Yeah.
correct? I think you pretty much took over anyone that,
That Chris was on. maybe?
Chris was on, even though we didn't do it in the past. So
Okay,
Fit me in wherever you see necessary.
so these first superintendent committees, Mr. Wilson, those are the ones that you want to talk about those?
yes, so these are,
These.
committees we put together. Due to a fairly new state law, any board activated committee must be an open meeting and have all those requirements of a normal open meeting. Superintendent committees do not come with that same requirement. A committee that I put together still can have board members participate in the exact same way as before. But it is just to do the work of the district. We still do have some committees that are either board or outside committees that make official recommendations to the board. But that is not these committees. So Professional Development Council looks at professional development and approves those. And so the board member that has been on there is Donna McGinty. We can have up to 3 members on any superintendent committee. Or again, it becomes an open meeting if we have a quorum, and we have to notice it as a board meeting instead. So
So if anybody's interested in serving on any of these,
speak up
Please
as we go
speak
through.
up. and I've served on the Professional Development Council. Megan has normally run those meetings on Zoom. So it's been very easy to join. But if anyone else is interested in serving, I can.
You interested in continuing?
I can continue. They're usually, they start at 3:15 and 4:15. The high school, the secondary is early because they get out of school early, and the elementary is the hour later. So it's 3:15 and 4:15, and it's been on Zoom or Google Meet. Once a quarter, yes, sorry, yeah. It's very informative. Megan is so organized and she just runs through things and they have questions and.
The other thing that's fine with these, since these are not board approved or anything, if you choose to be on them, you can just let us know as
Yeah.
well. So you don't have to let us know now. We just want to make sure that if there's significant interest, it will be first come, first serve because we can't have more than 3 people.
Or if you have a question about.
Yes,
So.
Yep.
Otherwise.
Safety committee?
yes.
You can be.
Let's get to there in a second. So let's start District Wellness Committee. That is mostly for food service, to create our wellness plans. And they do some other, wellness activities as well. Technology Advisory, should I pause, I guess?
Yeah.
Okay. Technology Advisory Committee, that is where Jeff goes through a lot of his technology, planning, and gets information there. Can you hold those meetings later? Or was it like noon?
I just reset my password. I think I need on there.
Emergency Operations Planning Committee, that is the Safety Security Planning Committee. And Keith, did you want to join that group?
Absolutely.
Awesome. What I just joined?
Emergency
operations.
Oh. Long Range Facility Planning Committee. And again, Keith, you've been on that in the past. You'd like to?
Yes.
District Mental Health Committee. We've had 3 on that one in the past.
I want to stay on.
Okay.
Are we still moving forward with the committee? Yes, okay. Yeah, I'm good with it.
Okay. And then the District Budget Committee, we have had 3 on in the past. Any changes there?
I'm good with staying on there.
Okay.
I'm good.
Okay. Braden, good with staying on? Our Safety Committee, these are, last 3 are new committees. And they are committees largely designed from teacher requests. I say that, but there actually have been administrative requests as well. But the Safety Committee specifically is talking about the safety of our staff in particular, whereas emergency operations is all over school safety and emergency operations. This Safety Committee is more aligned to ensuring that the environment for our staff is safe from a variety of things, but it could even be school and student behaviors as well that sometimes happen. Were you wanting to be on that one, Keith, as well? I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I would volunteer to be on it. I just, why is it just staff?
That was a request by them through negotiations that we take a look at how we can ensure that.
So the brush is gonna paint a broad stroke.
Right.
It might expand, so
Good.
sign me up.
But most of our general district safety and emergency operations is through that first committee.
Yeah.
This will be a more targeted committee on making sure staff in the classroom are safe in general. The evaluation committee, that is, Tanner is looking at with teachers and staff on the evaluation of our staff and ensuring that we have walkthroughs aligned to that and all of our evaluations are in order. The process for evaluation is determined by state statute and our negotiated agreement. The tool is actually determined administratively. So this committee can give the administration feedback on that as well. So let us know if that is a committee you would like to be a part of as well. And then the last new committee that we have is the Health Insurance Committee that is looking at ways to mitigate our health insurance premiums, which are rising significantly. So again, as administrators look at this to be able to get feedback from, because administrators will bring some ideas to be able to get feedback from staff and outside input.
So if you're interested in any of those after this evening, just email
Candace, me or Candace?
Candace.
Yep.
Candace, yeah.
Candace is the official.
You can put my name on the evaluation committee.
So I was on the calendar committee.
And that's coming up.
Oh,
Yep, we're not there yet.
okay.
That is an official board committee. And so you guys will do a motion to appoint the people on that. So, let's go ahead. What's your?
Do we have any idea how often? Now, I know the professional development meets once a quarter.
Yep.
How often do these other committees meet?
Many of them, and I'm gonna have to get help. So I'm gonna say District Wellness Council twice a year. Okay. Technology Advisory Committee, Jeff, twice a year.
Okay,
EOP once a year.
Maybe.
And we need to make sure we're doing that. I know he's done a lot of really good work with his department. But maybe bring some of that back at least once a year to that group. Long Range Facility Planning Committee is twice a year. District Mental Health Committee, it's only twice a year. District Budget Committee, is that twice a year? Okay. Safety Committee and Evaluation Committee and Health Insurance Committee. They're more what I would even call a task force, because they have a certain task. They will end when that task is done. And so I think that will be a little more up in the air on how many meetings they need to be able to accomplish their goal. But I would guess that health insurance and evaluation, because I think they've met before already, would be probably at least quarterly. Safety Committee might be quarterly or twice a year.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, so the board subcommittees then, the following appointments to a board subcommittee make a specific recommendation to the board based on their work. So Kyle, here's where comes in the calendar committee. We served on that last year and Megan did a bang up job and I think we had it done before we realized we were meeting.
I didn't ever go to the meeting.
One meeting.
Yes, so Kyle, Braden and I were on that.
To the meeting. That's great. Yeah, riveting. All three of you interested in continuing?
I can step down from that because I think I don't want to do one of these other ones.
Okay.
I'll step down from the calendar committee. I
Anyone,
might join some of those up above yet.
anyone else that would like to join that committee?
Sounds like a black Megan.
Okay, so Kyle and Braden.
Yep.
Then outside committees.
Let's go ahead and do a motion.
Oh, I'm sorry. A motion to appoint Kyle and Braden to serve on the calendar committee. I just, would someone make a motion, please? I apologize.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Diana and seconded by Christie for the most part. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand and say aye. Okay, opposed? Okay, so moved. Now, outside committees. The following are appointments to outside committees and require appointment by official board action for the term of the appointment. KASB Government Relations, Michelle. Are you interested in continuing there?
Yes.
Or- Yes? Okay, do we do these in order or should I just do all of them? Since it's doing separate?
Yes.
Okay, anybody else interested in that committee?
I am, but I can just be Michelle's backup. If she can't go, then I'm happy to.
Okay. Okay, a motion, would somebody please?
Madam President, I make a motion to appoint Michelle Caudill to serve on the KSB Governmental Relations Committee.
Second.
It's been moved by Christie and seconded by Kyle. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, so Michelle is on that committee. The CEF, Diana and Kyle are currently serving on that. Do you? What's your?
Like to continue.
You'd like to?
So would I.
Huh? Anybody else?
I move that we appoint Diana Burdine and Kyle McNaughton to serve on the Seat Foundation.
Second.
Okay, been moved by Michelle and seconded by Keith. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Same, opposed, same sign. Okay, so moved. ICC, Diana and Christie are currently serving.
I'm happy to come off.
Okay,
I
and-
would actually like to come off of that committee as well.
And I'm,
This moved to monthly and that one also is,
they meet monthly? Okay, I'm willing to serve on that committee.
it's really fascinating. It's a great group.
It is.
It just.
Okay. Okay, so I'm willing to serve on that one. Anybody else interested? Their meetings are in the morning, right?
Yes, 7:20 technically they start.
Okay.
On Tuesday, one Tuesday a month.
Okay,
I move to appoint Donna McGinty to serve on the ACC.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand, say aye. Oppose, same sign. Okay, motion moved, motion accepted, I guess. All right. So just to get back to Candace and or Brad about the other committees, if you're interested in serving on those first ones. Discussion items. Megan.
Good evening.
Hi, Megan.
Hello.
We missed you
Yes,
last
I
time.
missed you guys too. Let's be back. I'm here with a brief update for you on standards-based grading, specifically for grades 2nd through 4th. So as we're looking ahead to next year, we have just a little update on what's going to be happening with those report cards. So as we go to the first official slide, just to review the lingo for you, when I'm talking about standards-based grading, that's slightly different than what you maybe think of with traditional grading. We do both grading styles in the district. So historically, kindergarten through 4th grade are our standards-based grading grade ranges. And then starting in 5th grade, students receive traditional grades, thinking like the ABCD grade scale. So really what that means very simply is when we're talking about standards-based grading in K4, it means that we take the actual state standards from KSDE and students get grades on a grade scale for the specific individual skills that are identified in the standards from the state compared to just an overall grade on biology or ELA as they get older, okay? So what we're looking at, if we keep moving along, is trying to make the standards-based grading language more familiar and more comfortable for our students and families to be able to understand. This recommendation is coming directly from the teachers and our work that we've been doing over the past year with standards alignment. So on the report cards currently, when teachers give them to parents at parent-teacher conferences, it has the current standards in full and what the students got on their, 1 through 4 scale for each individual standard. And the report cards are multiple pages long because if you've seen some of these state standards, they're kind of lengthy. And so when teachers are trying to have conversations with parents, meaningful conversations about the students' skills and their performance on skills, they're trying to do that and simultaneously kind of translate what the standard means on the spot. So what our teachers have done this year through our standards alignment process is taken those state standards and turn them into what's called success criteria or I can statements. So putting them in that student parent friendly language that I can do a certain skill in words that are more easily understandable for the community members that we are trying to have those conversations with. So what I really want to emphasize is that last bullet point, that while we have adjusted these standards into I can statements for our students and parents, that the academic expectations haven't changed whatsoever. We are still teaching standards in their entirety. We're still expecting to teach all of the standards. We're just trying to assist in that communication process. So I think a visual on this makes it easier to understand than what I'm trying to explain on the spot. So this is the visual for you to kind of see what it means for our report cards. Previously on the left, that was a state standard for 2nd grade math. So that's what parents were seeing when they were having those conversations with teachers. All we want to do is instead of the long, lengthy standard, turn it into a more concise version of the skill. So you can see like just those differences between 2nd grade math and 4th grade ELA. And again, I want to emphasize that it's the teachers who came up with these during collaborative conversations with representatives from each building sitting down and saying, okay, how can we take the gist of the standard and put it into that student-friendly language that makes it easier to understand and communicate about. So I think just seeing the difference in those two side by side can see why this is helpful in that communication piece. So just on the next slide to break it down on why this is beneficial for each of these different stakeholder groups. For families, it makes it easier for them to understand and have those conversations with teachers about what it is that their students are expected to learn. Students even, we try to write them in that student-friendly language and use verbs and terms that students can understand so that teachers can talk to a second grade student and say, here's exactly, the skill that I want you to, where you can continue to show growth and improvement on, or here's a skill that you have exceeded in. For teachers, it means that the report cards are going to mirror that language of standards alignment. And so that we're starting to use that same language across the board. And of course, for communication, it creates that common language piece between school and home. So last little bottom part there, again, is that this is coming directly from the teachers. They've actually been asking about this on the report cards for a number of years. And we were finally able to get into that work with our standards alignment process by pulling those needs together this year in order to finally, talk about what student-friendly language could look like on the report. So that's the where we're headed for this next year with second to fourth grade report cards. Any questions on that? Yes.
Go ahead, Kyle.
So go back to that last slide, Jeff.
Yes.
So you say, and the students can clearly identify what they know.
Mhm.
It sounds great. I
Yeah.
can do this.
Mhm.
And what they're working towards. So
Yes.
let's say on that example.
Yep.
The greater than, less than. anything.
Yes. Mhm.
So if they can't, is that gonna say, I can't compare my three, what's the?
Yeah.
How do you know this is where they're supposed to be?
Mhm.
Where are they now?
Yep.
If you follow my,
I am following.
Okay.
Yeah, great question. That would be communicated through the grade scale on the report card. So the grade scale, and there's a key on the report card for parents to see and students if they're having that conversation all together. So like a 1, 2, 3, 4, all of these have different language and terms, like where you are developing towards, or you've shown proficiency or mastery, of the certain skill. So let's say the student has a 1 on the grade scale of 4. That would be the numerical communication piece that we're still working towards this skill on greater than, less than. If they have the 4 out of 4 on the grade scale, that shows that they have met that proficiency. And they'll continue to, be able to work on that skill if they have a little.
so is that easily understood by the parents that
That's why we,
my kid should be doing this, but they're at a 1?
Yes.
I mean, does that
yeah, that's the hope.
correlate
I mean,
together real easy for the parent, I guess?
Yes, so the key, and I pointed towards Jeff because the report cards are automatically generated out of PowerSchool. On his end, he's done a lot of coding in order for things to appear the way we want it to for parents, but that key for what the 1, 2, 3, and 4 look like appear right there at the top of the grade scale, and then the standard and the scores that the students have received right underneath them.
So I think it would, maybe next month when you come back, maybe you could show a picture of what that looks like
Absolutely.
for clarity's sake. I think
Yeah.
that would be good.
Yes, we can definitely do that. And, full disclosure, Jeff and I are working on doing the spreadsheets and the coding. Well, he does the coding, I do the spreadsheets. This month, so hopefully, yeah, very soon we will have that done.
Yeah.
I believe in you. You could code if you want.
Sure could.
And then, so this is a committee of our teachers that put these standards together.
Yes.
Yes, yeah. They're the groups that I brought together once a quarter over this past year, where it's like a second grade teacher from every building. They had a half day together once a quarter, and this is part of it that they have done. And they built out their ICANN statements over the course of the year. And then said, can we please have these on our report?
Yeah. So my question would be, I don't know how many standards there are. Like, let's say there's 25 standards in second grade for math. So are they all going to be shown on the report card every time? And then, or what, how's that look?
Great question. Also part of our standards alignment work. So as they were, the very first thing before they even built out their ICANN statements this year was to identify their focus standards. What are the most essential standards based on some criteria that we learned about and that they use to gauge their standards. So they identified the key focus standards per quarter. And for each of those key focus standards per quarter, they then built the ICANN statements for those. So that's what you're going to see per quarter.
Per quarter.
And it's directly related to the content and curriculum that they have taught that quarter. Standards that won't come until later in the year,
They
you're
won't
not
be
gonna
on
see
there.
it.
Okay, okay.
So is this gonna be an action item next month? then?
No,
Okay,
no, this
so-
is information only.
Okay.
And we'll bring back more information next
Okay.
month.
Fine.
Keeping you in the loop, yeah.
No, go ahead, finish your.
Oh, no, that was my, keeping you in the loop, that here's, where we're
So this is teacher
teacher,
recommendation.
teacher driven,
Yes.
teacher recommendation. They've been looking for a change on the report cards after, they've been lengthy, they've been long, trying to make
Yeah.
it that better conversation piece when they sit down and talk with students.
User friendly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I really like that. It's positive. Did our teachers come up with that? I mean, that is awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I really, I mean,
Uh,
it's.
We have fantastic professionals and I wish that you guys could have all been flies on the wall as they're having these academic conversations and really diving into the verbs and the action language within a standard to really identify what does that standard mean and how can we turn this into
Great job.
language. Yeah, it's a great job to the teachers.
It's a great job. I just have one question. You said in your previous statement that this has taken a couple years to develop.
Mhm.
Is there anything the board has put in front of you to slow that progress? Or are there other things that maybe could be accelerated to help advance this?
That's a great question. I would not say there was anything on your end that could have been done differently. A lot of this has been happening because of our KISA goals that we have set. So that's the school improvement goals that we set with the state. And so 2 years ago, we set standards alignment as one of our fundamentals that we were going to set a goal on in order to do better. So the first year was kind of the information data getting part and setting the initial goal. And then last year was like, we are moving, we are starting to do the work. And so that's where this is stemmed
A
from.
perfect example of there's no cost to the district for this, right?
No.
It's
Some sub
meant-
cost,
Huh?
some sub cost.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. To
But
have
it's
teachers come in
meant,
to do
it's
the work.
meant to open up communication, develop collaborativism.
Yep.
And that's exactly what I, as a board member, am looking for from our teacher professionals.
Yeah.
So I appreciate this. So
Yeah.
thank you.
The only thing I might add is I think one thing that the board did do to kind of start this, and Megan mentioned KISA was a good driving factor, but you guys also approved a strategic plan that certainly had student learning at the top. And that's where our teachers are, that's why they do this work. And this is why Megan leads this work, is the goal of this is to improve student learning. And one piece, this is just one piece of what they've done this year, not all of it by far, but one piece of it is if students can't understand the expectation clearly, then it's really hard to meet that expectation. And so I think Megan and her team of teachers have done a phenomenal job of this.
I guess I'm looking at this from a different vantage point of, while education is important, this is a great communication tool that creates a much clearer pathway for discussions between teachers and students and parents that
Yeah.
never existed.
Very good.
It's awesome.
So
Any other
if-
questions?
what,
Comments?
again, this is awesome, I think, but what else?
I have some invitations for you.
Oh, we got those. It's,
Hanging out. Right there, you guys are invited to 2 of our back to school events. So just giving you the official invitations. I think there'll be some follow-up information coming to you from Teresa, but this is your in-person. If your schedules allow, we would love to first see you at our new staff luncheon that is happening on Wednesday, August 5th. That's that traditional kickoff luncheon with all of our new certified staff. It's going to be at the middle school and just in the commons area around 11:30 is when our new staff will be coming down to have their lunch. And those of you who are there, we would love to see you and get you introduced to our new staff members. Following that, later that week, you are also invited to our kickoff convocation event. So that's Friday, August 7th. And that's going to be at the high school starting at 8 a.m. So.
Megan, can I put a little bit more on you? You weren't expecting this. But when Kyle asks what's next,
Oh.
I think of some of the work that you and other administrators are doing in terms of NTSS, core instruction, and then obviously intervention following up. Really briefly, because we have a long meeting ahead of us, you want to just tell the board a little bit about the work you've been doing this year with that and where we're headed with that?
Yes, absolutely. So, and I think I've touched on a couple times about how we have done. We have entered a partnership this past school year with the TASN team from KSDE, which really focuses on strengthening systems, multi-tiered system of support, our MTSS processes. And through that process, this year, where we're working both with our leadership team. So our principals come together for days of professional development, as well as building teams coming together. We've determined that our focus is going to be on literacy. So that was around mid-year that we found, determined through some data dives that literacy was going to be the focus of our work. And so we are going to continue that partnership with TASN into the coming year. And through that, by looking at literacy, we're really going to allow both our principal teams to continue to develop their capacity as instructional leaders in supporting literacy in their buildings, as well as giving leadership to the literacy teams identified at the actual building level to look into strengthening core, which means like your like regular lesson time with your teachers in the classroom, as well as the tiered support, so interventions with literacy. And just the facilitation of our TASN team and those conversations has really begun to benefit our staff, and I look forward to the work that we're going to continue to do. I don't know, Mr. Wilson, if that's where you want me to go with that. I could probably take coffee, but yeah.
Tell me again what TASM, I should know this.
Oh,
That's-
school assistance network.
Technical Assistance Systems Network.
Yeah, okay, I couldn't, yeah,
I had those words, just not
Yeah.
the right thing, or the right order. So yes.
yeah, which is just,
One of the things the new commissioner of education is trying to do is to make sure that all of the service centers and support centers like TASN, Greenbush, ESDAC, they're all speaking the same language, especially when it comes to quality instruction, so that we can have more of we talk about our teachers and students and parents being on the same page. They want our state to be on the same page as well. So that should be positive momentum as well there.
I think our own librarians involved in that as well. I didn't hear them in the list, and I'm sure.
So I would need to, I need to double check my list. So each building was able to identify who their literacy team members would be. And we might have a few librarians who are part of that. I can't say, I don't think universally all of them are on their buildings literacy teams, but one piece that we do emphasize with this work is what we call our self-correcting feedback loop, which means that the team members who come for the day and have the conversations on site, before they leave, really, it is how are you going to be getting this information back to those in your building? Because every building member is crucial to this process. If you have a teacher who doesn't receive the updates or information, that's where the change is going to stop with them. Right. So we really, even if you don't have a librarian team member on the literacy team, really trying to ensure that that information gets back and all the.
That just seemed a little confusing to me, because literacy and librarians kind of go hand in hand, so just want to ask.
Anything else for Megan? Thank you.
Okay, yeah, thank you guys.
Thanks, Megan.
Okay, looks like we need to, we're doing executive session.
Madam President, can I make a request that we go to line item C before B, so members of our audience might be able to leave?
No, we can't.
We can't, okay,
We have to go in this order.
Yeah, and there's a specific. reason,
Okay,
and we'll
that's
talk
fine.
About it.
I was-
It won't be a long executive session.
okay,
So I think they'll be okay waiting.
okay.
Need a motion to go into executive session to discuss confidential data related to financial affairs of a corporation.
Actually, you make the motion.
I make the motion. Okay, so I make a motion to go into executive session to discuss confidential data relating to financial affairs or trade secrets of corporations, partnerships, trusts, and individual proprietorships, and The open meeting will resume in the boardroom
I would say 10 minutes.
no later than 7:10. Who's
Marty,
Marty and Mr. Wilson?
yes.
Okay. Did I have a second?
I.
Michelle, all in favor, raise your hand and say aye. Opposed, same sign.
See. Another place, I think. Yes. I don't know.
Indian Creek facility bids, Mr. Neinstead.
All right, as you remember, back in April, we had someone decide to try to make it a drive-through in the gym at Indian Creek. To go over the bids for repairs, and now that I have what the insurance payout's going to be, I can give you a better idea. And as we discussed at the last board meeting, we have a more firm and committed number on what it would cost for demolition. Cine, their repair bids were $173,067. Murray and Sons, $207,331. And demolition would be $166,300 from McPherson. Our insurance payout, regardless of which way we would go, would be $105,798.14. The district cost, if we were to have the repairs done by Cine, and if we're going to have the repairs done, that would be the direction I would advise, would be $67,268.86. And if we went with demolition, it would be $60,501.86. The repair costs cover the structure damage and repair. Couple of things to consider and think about. We would still need to replace the HVAC and roofing in the next 5 to 10 years. I can't tell you specifically. I can tell you that that has been easily the farthest out building we have had from the standpoint of either one of those things being done. We haven't done the roof and we haven't done HVAC. Obviously, we have minimal utilities there, but we do keep it so that it doesn't deteriorate faster than it has to. If we keep it open, we will continue to have utility costs after repairs. We'll continue to have upkeep on fire suppression cameras and security measures, any of those things that would be normal that we have to do. If we do demolition, it would save additional money on those aforementioned items. And if we did demolition, we would have an ongoing savings with our property insurance. They didn't give me a specific amount, but by having that building demoed, we would probably look at an annual savings of at least $50,000. Potentially more than that. They didn't give any specifics on what that amount would be.
Marty,
Yes.
can you talk us through how Indian Creek is being used right now, other than with our Operation Backpack Friends?
These fine people use it, as you mentioned, and we use it for storage.
It's been empty for how long?
From the police, sheriffs, use it.
They use it about twice a year for canine drills.
How long has the building been primarily?
Within 10 years.
So pretty, the demolition, is that just a building or is that concrete and there? I mean, is that getting it down to pretty clean dirt or do you, I
It would
mean,
be down to where it'd be flat and filled. It would leave any sidewalks and the parking lot that are there would still be there unless it were damaged or
how about,
happened what they did with the.
how about the concrete to the west where the playground and all that stuff is? Is
That
that?
would still be there,
Okay. So it's basically the building.
just the building.
I actually have a question about that playground area. Is that still considered safe? Kind of a sideways comment, but are there liability issues with that playground equipment?
Not that I'm aware of. Other than there's always liability on any equipment like that when it's a building that's not used and not supervised.
So that would be no more than the one at Logan, probably.
Right.
I mean, there's always that liability.
Yeah.
We know what the carrying cost per month are on that thing.
I don't.
Have we looked into offering that property for sale formally? What would that involve, I guess, would be. my
There's a
question.
couple of things, school districts to sell a building. One of the things that changed a couple of years ago was that has to pass through the legislature. You can have a deal, everybody's happy with it, but ultimately that doesn't get finalized. I don't wanna look too hard over there.
I voted against it. So it's okay.
But eventually the legislature would have to act on it, so you would probably, let's say we had somebody come in and offer an amount that we all said, absolutely, we need to do that. You guys vote and do that, everybody's happy, it's all on hold, and ultimately, only if the legislature gave their approval.
May I ask what their interest is in the approval or disapproval of that sale?
The legislature,
I'm just not following.
you would have to ask a legislator that.
You want-
Kyle,
Generally,
what is the, can someone clarify?
So the rationale behind it was the fact that backdoor deals were being made with people to sell school district property to some developer for cheap dollars. And so it's to try to put an end to that. But, and there's also in that clause, if I remember, that the state can actually buy it. And,
That same amount.
sure, and so, but that was the whole premise of the bill, was to try to keep backdoor deals from happening, that somebody bought a, building for nothing, way under value. And it was the whole premise of
and
it.
I'm gonna add one that I've heard a few legislatures discuss, and that is they felt like buildings were not being, how Heartland has old East Indianola. Their feeling was that some schools were being kept from being sold to private schools. And so they wanted to make sure that that wasn't happening either.
The reality is that anytime you sell a building, it's generally going to be considerably less than what the value of it would have been. And that particular building, one of the questions that you guys asked last month was, if we ever had an increase, would we be able to use that building? It would probably cost more than what you would want to spend to get it to where it would be completely functional again. And the thing to keep in mind, I think, with that is, would it be as much as building a new building? Probably not, but it would be close. And if you're going to get close, you still have a building that's 65 years old. So you're still going to have some problems that wouldn't necessarily be addressed by trying to remodel. Yes, sir.
So this doesn't really factor into this decision, but have we heard any more from our insurance company on whether they're going to be able to get money out of?
Have not heard anything
Okay.
from them yet.
Okay.
What would the process look like? Should we decide that we want to explore selling the property?
You guys would instruct Mr. Wilson and I that you want to see if there is a way for us to put it up for sale eventually and see what kind of interest.
So Marty, would it be better to sell as is? Or would you sell repaired? Would you, what does that look like?
Well, that would be the good question right there. And the thing to think about is there probably would not be very many people interested in purchasing it with it in the condition it is right now. It's not structurally safe in the gym area. So if you were going to sell it or try to sell it, we probably need to move forward with the idea of repairs. And there's not a certainty that you're going to get an offer
You're
that
gonna
you would.
recoup what you put
That
into
we
it.
put into it.
Correct.
But looking forward. Is there any, like, say we decide to go ahead and tear down, but we keep the land?
Mhm.
Is there anything in our future planning or look ahead that says, hey, there's something we might need that space for? Are we
Well,
holding it to hold it?
right. The obvious thing would be if there were ever an upturn in enrollment, you don't have to worry about finding a place where there's enough land to build a building. You know, you have it right there.
Our upturn probably isn't going to be in that space, though. Our upturn will probably be further out.
Correct.
Correct.
So it's logistically.
I talk with my
it
hands,
Right,
Mark,
no,
so.
you're good. Logistically, it creates some problems because it may not be ideally where we would want. And the domino that falls with that is then you're probably looking at, well, we'd have to reconfigure where the zones are that you're going to, the districts within the district. That would be the most likely thing. Obviously, the district could at some point find some other reason. What that would be, I don't know that I have something specific.
Swimming pool.
I guess just looking at the demolition costs and the two contract bids that we have in front of us. See, I mean, there's a 35% discrepancy in these. What am I missing?
Lance and I have talked about that. I think there's twofold. I think that with the repair bids, there is a company that really wants our business on that stuff because they went several years where they didn't have it. So I think they were motivated to sharpen the pencil a little bit more. And the other one had to do with some of the masonry stuff and it being more expensive with the higher bid. Occasionally, we get bids that are intentionally high because they don't really think that will fit into their schedule. But if you're gonna pay them enough, then it's okay.
Fit in.
They'll fit it in then.
They don't really wanna do it.
Correct. If you remember, we had that a couple of years ago with the sound system
Yes.
at the high school.
Oh, very, in the, yeah.
Can I
Auditorium.
just put this out there? Cause I know that we have to consider these bids during our action items. Can we, if whichever way we decide to go, and mainly looking towards the demolition, if we vote to demolish, can we hold off until our Operation Backpack Friends find another location? I mean, what did that look like? Like,
Well, they
They
can't be
can't
in it
use
the way it is right now.
oh, I thought they were still in it.
No,
Oh, okay.
it's not.
They've
safe
been
right
out.
now.
Okay, I thought that
2 months?
you were still using a part of the building.
Yeah.
They're
I
not
thought that
using
too.
it. Okay,
So,
okay.
since we're in our little discussion phase, I have a hard time committing even $60,000 once we have our insurance payment. When we don't have maybe a purpose in mind or a solid plan in mind
For the use of the building.
for the use of the building, for the use of the land, for, are we going to sell, are we going to hold? Is it possible to explore whether or not anyone is interested in purchasing before we make a financial commitment? And maybe it's still, well, we won't purchase until the building is taken down and then that makes sense and that's what we have to do. But if we're going to
The
get,
longer sorry, I cut you off.
no, I just, if we don't know if there's even interest in the space, we're making a financial commitment that may not return to
But
us.
we
So
are
I'm just
also,
curious.
wait.
It's
the more expensive it's gonna be.
To repair, not to take down.
Right.
But
Well,
we are
maybe.
spending money to keep everything going, like the lights,
Insurance.
Yeah.
And Marty, you said that was roughly 50 grand a year
At
estimated.
least.
Yeah.
We should save at least $50,000 a year on our property and casualty insurance.
And that's not.
Just on the insurance, that doesn't include,
Correct, that's just our insurance
Utilities
cost.
or
That's not
any of the
any of
other-
the maintenance or anything.
I think we were saying.
And is there an expiration on our bids? Like if we.
Yes, that's another question I had.
Should be.
What was that, Christie?
Expiration on our bids, like
Oh,
how
A
long?
couple of reasons that we really ideally need to move forward in some direction today. Again, as the engineer said, it's not structurally safe for people to be in there. If we think that we may want to look at the repair, if that part of the building collapses, you may take that choice off the
Yes.
table. And the other part of it is we also don't want to extend it out too far, because then we'll have a problem with insurance because, okay, we said that we were going to pay you
Right.
this and you guys didn't do anything.
The only other thing I would bring up in a delay, and it's just with kids, and I worry about kids playing around the building, or adults could too, but that's Darwin right there taking effect, but kids, I don't want around that building if there is a chance that it could collapse.
Kyle, did you have something in?
So you said it's storage. Is that stuff, do we have place to put that valuables that are stored in there?
Frankly, those values probably need to go to the landfill.
Okay. And if there is any truly stuff we can
Right.
find a place somewhere, okay.
There's not much that we've got there that is usable or salvageable.
Wow, I asked that question last
on?
month, Kyle. I asked that question last month, how much storage we use, and the information I received was since the auction of the predecessor, they haven't really added anything to it, so I can't imagine there's much.
Yeah,
It's just been there.
right. If you were to decide to do the demolition, McPherson has agreed that whatever scrap and stuff, they've got hoppers that they'll use to put that stuff in, and less the cost of the transportation of it.
Right.
We might get a little bit back on some of it. It wouldn't be any significant amount.
Marty, this says owner will have all friable or asbestos containing materials removed prior to work start.
Yeah, we've had it inspected and have been told that we are good.
Anything else for Marty? Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, Marty.
Okay, Mr. Wilson. We have about, I don't know how many, 20, I didn't count, but a few policy updates.
Have some policy updates. I'm not going to ask Jeff to try to keep up. I am going to go in the order of the summary that you have in front of you, which would be in basically alphabetical order. I have created a brief summary of each of the changes. If you'd like me to take more time on any of them, please let me know. And, but otherwise, I'm just going to go through these and then allow you to read them at your leisure. DFE investment of funds increases the amount of the security pledge that, who holds our finances, Silver Lake Bank right now, has to put. They have to have 102% pledge now. There are also additional regulations on our deposits. Right now, Silver Lake Bank has exceeded any requirements that the state has. State has pretty strict requirements on even interest that they provide us. EBEE, we may have, and I want to be clear about this verbiage, no active shooter simulations with students. That is where you actually put somebody with a, not live, but with a simulated gun doing it. And we have not done that. We've never done that. We do not plan to do that. What is okay is summer training that we've done with law enforcement. However, at this point, we're going to need to come back to you and get board authorization once this policy is in place, just to do that.
Didn't we have one scheduled at Pleasant Hill already?
Yes.
Is it, do we have to, okay, I saw that.
Yes.
Okay.
EE Food Service, Kay has updated this one. She has lowered the threshold for collections, and the reason she has done that is she does not want any kids to have an alternate meal, which is typically a PB&J. And so she wants to hit parents up before that has to come into fruition. So Kay has actually put some work on to EE and changed from what KASB's recommendation is. GAAC is, and we have a staff and a student policy on sex-based discrimination. It used to be called sexual harassment, but now they have differentiated sex-based discrimination from purely sexual harassment. Title IX has some regulations that have been in this policy in the past. They have created a separate policy within that, in addition to that, in this policy for sex-based discrimination, and it actually treats those two items differently, whereas before they were treated the same way. IDAD Title I programs policy, basically this has codified and clarified in policy what was already Title I requirements and put those in policies. There is then also regulations attached to that now by statute, I believe, well, statute by federal law have to be approved. No, I take it back. Title IX does not have to, or Title I does not have to be approved. Title I is just the regulations that tell us how to write our plan. The plan is what we will bring back to you for separate approval. Next month, we will not bring that regulation that's in that packet back to you, but I did want you to be able to see it, but that's how we will build our plan. That's what we have to follow. IHF graduation requirements, that is to align to additional KSDE graduation requirements where students must complete 2 post-secondary success criteria to graduate. So that has added that to our graduation requirements. Staff online activities, several new requirements. We've discussed this briefly when we discussed our policy on phones, but essentially we can't have staff interacting two-way through social media. We'll make sure staff have access to that policy. JB is attendance records, and you're going to see several of them that are hit, anything where records were referred to. Foster students and homeless students. Essentially, their records can't be withheld or delayed. And also, we can't delay enrolling students that are in care of DCF or homeless students. And so those have been codified in multiple policies. JBC enrollment, again, another place where we've added foster and homeless requirements to that. And you can see in that summary what those are. JBCB foster care students policy, again, that is the revised policy that we're actually compiling that all together. And so as you approve the policy, you'll approve those regulations as well. Transportation is a part of those regulations as well. So there's several pages that go with that. JBCC is enrollment of non-resident students. And essentially it just says that homeless foster care students permitted to enroll as long as they've met the requirements. So if they're homeless and in your area, or their foster care and it's their bid or best interest determination is determined they're going to your school, they're going to your school. It's always been true. KASB has updated that policy. JBD absences and excuses, add disciplinary action to students who walk out, and that is due to a new law on walkouts. We already had the policy on walkouts, so we didn't have to change much, but it did add some disciplinary action to that. In the summary, you can see JCDC, that is the student personal electronic devices. You've already approved that. That will not be, it's not actually on the board right now either. JGEC is the student policy that corresponds to the student policy for sex-based discrimination, exact same changes in there. Hopefully I'm going in the right order. JGFGA, Administration of Emergency Opioid Antagonists. We must have Narcan in all of our buildings. We have had that in all of our schools. I think we have to update and make sure our district office technology, some places like that have it as well. It also includes some requirement of nurses, but also training for staff in using that. That's a really good law.
Have it in the elementary?
Yes, we have. And less for the elementary students and more for elementary, you can have parents that come in that have that as well. Which is again, a good reason to have it in this building as well.
This is the one I had the question about.
Yes.
So they say it extends the length of time you can keep it, but the nurse's licensure doesn't allow them to prescribe it. So how do you work around that? So it says you'll need to work around that. So what do you do there?
Well, right now, I believe oxalone, whatever, is good for 2 years, but they are doing testing on them and they're good for 5 to 10 years. So they just need to update their expiration dates. Because they put them out originally and didn't think, but they're extending those expiration dates.
Okay, so.
But for us, when that expiration date hits, we will get rid of it and replace it
For the nurse's sake.
for the nurse's sake,
Yes.
as well as we don't want to be liable for dispensing
Okay.
expired medications, even if they have determined that they're safe. So yes, we will do that. There are lots of places where you can get free Narcan and subsidized. So the supply is there. So we're not worried about that. JGFGAA, stock supply of emergency medication. That is just a slight wording change because now EpiPens are not just self-injectables. They are also sprays and would include Narcan as a spray as well. So that's just a small wording change. JGFGBA, student self-administration of medications. That again is a slight wording change. Nothing substantive in that. JQKA, foreign exchange students. This follows our practice already, but foreign exchange students who are placed in district are in district students. We've always treated them as such, but that will be in board policy. And the last one is JRB, release of student records, again, covering foster care expedited records requests. And so again, making sure that those kiddos that don't have a parent looking out for them have us looking out for them mostly.
Okay.
Questions, comments?
Thank you, Brad, for
Yeah.
putting that together.
My pleasure.
Appreciate that.
This gets looked at by our staff as well, administrators. So it is more than just me weeding through these.
Okay, Marty, student parent transportation.
Yes, I'm gonna go through the biggest three things. The biggest thing is that Rana wanted to format it to where it is very similar and aligned with everything with the student handbooks. And I think she did a really nice job on that. But the three big ones, one under preschool, kindergarten, and specialized transportation student release procedures, having it be, if no authorized adult is present at drop off, the student will remain on the bus and be returned to the school. Following the first occurrence, the parent or guardian will receive a warning call explaining the expectation and notifying that any future occurrence will result in the student being removed from bus transportation for the following day. Continued violations may result in additional transportation consequences. The second point would be under student absences from transportation to maintain safe, efficient, and accurate bus routes. Parents and or guardian should notify the transportation department whenever a student will not be riding the bus. Keeping route information current allows drivers to operate more efficiently and helps ensure accurate ridership records. If a student has 1 week of consecutive no-call, no-show absences from their assigned bus route, the parent or guardian will receive a phone call reminding them of the expectation to communicate transportation changes and notifying them at an additional week of consequences. No call, no show absences will result in the student being removed from the bus route. Families may request to have transportation reinstated by contacting the transportation department when the bus service is needed again. And the third one would be under prohibited items, personal care items such as perfumes, colognes, body sprays, aerosol sprays, strongly scented hand sanitizers, and other strongly scented products on the bus must remain stored in backpacks or personal belongings and may not be applied or used while riding the bus. Students and staff may have allergies, asthma, and other sensitivities to fragrances and the airborne products. To help provide a safe and comfortable environment for everyone, the use of strongly scented products is prohibited while on district transportation. Those are the three main points. And I know that you guys will have that, and we'll be back next month if you've got questions, unless you have a question now.
Any questions for Marty? Thank you. Well,
Marty, I think you're still
I
up.
think you're up.
That's me.
Yes. Consider bids.
For the conducted energy weapon.
Taser.
Taser is a copyrighted name, so it is a conducted energy weapon, and our conducted energy weapons weren't working. Apparently, they have not been working for a while, some of them, and it was probably not useful to have something like that that just isn't that case, so it was time to do that. And this was the deal, and we would recommend that you approve the 31,692 from Axon to have our officers have functional
CEW.
tasers. Yeah.
Is it my understanding, Mr. Ninestead, that you are willing to test to make sure these new ones work well?
Interestingly, each one of our officers has asked if that would be a possibility.
I'm sure they did.
I think I'm in.
I think we can make that a part of it.
Language of our. Could be part of the motion, yeah. Yeah, well,
It could be a fundraiser.
pay-per-view, maybe.
It could be a fundraiser.
All right.
It says term of 5 units for a term of 60 months, and this is a 5-year.
Yeah, they should be good for 5 years.
5 years.
Yeah.
Okay, anybody have a motion?
Madam President, I make a motion to approve the purchase from Taser Axon Enterprises for the amount of $31,692.
It's been moved by Kyle and seconded by Keith. Any discussion?
It's in the budget, Lisa.
Yes. We haven't budgeted in capital outlay. Yeah.
She's not gonna let that happen. Any other discussion? Hey, all in favor, please raise your hand and say aye. Aye, opposed, same sign. Okay, motion approved. Thank you, Marty.
You bet.
I think you're still.
Back up
or is
for
that-
student parent
Okay.
handbooks, which you received last month,
Uh-huh.
and we would suggest that be approved as presented.
We talked about these last month. Does anybody have questions or anything about any of these?
Are these in the budget?
They are.
I move that we approve the handbooks as presented.
Second. Moved by Michelle, second by Christie. Any discussion?
Or just this handbook or all these handbooks?
Oh,
It's for all of them, I think she,
I was plural.
yeah. So it's for all 5 of them. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, raise your hand and say aye. Aye, opposed, same sign. Motion approved. Anna's not here, so I guess you're his stand-in.
Keep staying up here. I know that he wanted to recommend that the classified handbook be approved as presented last month.
The classified handbook that says updated June 2025, but I would assume.
Right, and he said,
Updated,
yes.
because it was the as presented.
Okay, did you make a motion there, Diana?
I will make a motion that we approve the classified handbook as sort of presented.
Second.
Okay, moved by Diana, second by Braden. Discussion?
Is there a question with the word working copy under this title?
No, normally they don't say working copy, but this one says working
Yeah.
copy.
It won't say that. You guys approved it.
As sort of presented.
For our humor.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand and say aye. Aye, same, opposed, same sign. Okay, approved as presented. Okay, we are back to Indian Creek. So Marty,
You bet. Our recommendation would be to go with the demolition. Primarily for the savings that we will have after the fact. Savings in property and casualty insurance and a reduction in those costs. But either way, we need to do one or the other.
Madam President, I make a motion to approve the bid from McPherson for demolition. That's what.
I second.
it's been moved by Braden, seconded by Michelle. Any discussion?
Can I just ask a question? So the bid is $166,000, insurance payouts, 105-ish, district cost of 60,000. Essentially, within a year of doing this, we are estimating our insurance savings alone will mean that this is neutral for the district.
That should be correct.
I would challenge that. I would say that it would be more positive.
Right, I suspect it would end up more, but I don't think it'd be worse.
Because we're not paying for gas.
Right. None of the
So insurance
utilities are.
savings alone,
Right.
It'll pay for itself in 1 year.
Yes.
That's what
And-
she said.
And I would point out though, that insurance we have paid for this year.
Yes. So we'll
Next
get
year's
It
it.
would be for.
Yes.
in next year when we get that, the cost for this year was 711,000 and change, which was a few $1,000s less than what they originally had
Yes.
for us, should be less. I say that with this caveat, with insurance, what always is a factor is what happens with everybody else.
Yes.
We're in a pool and I would strongly encourage us to stay in that forever because it's been a great thing for us. But the things that impact insurance are hurricanes in the Caribbean and wildfires seemingly everywhere right now. Those things play a factor in the entire market. And that causes underwriters to increase the premiums for everyone.
Marty, would you say though that if the insurance significantly goes up, then not having that building would be even a greater savings?
Correct. Yes, absolutely.
and is it fair to say that it'd be reasonable for us to ask for a recommendation for what to do with that property once the demolition?
Sure.
At
I
some
think
point.
that's reasonable.
Any other discussion?
Just a clarifying question based upon the conversation earlier about the state needs to approve sale You don't need to approve the demolition of the building?
Sorry. We'll look at that. I was actually thinking that earlier, because that crossed my mind as well. We'll look at that. Thanks.
I don't remember reading that. I read that statute and I don't remember seeing.
We'll double check,
That's what it was, just.
but I don't believe that was part of the statute.
So we go ahead with the motion as presented.
Yeah.
Okay.
As long as discussion's done.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, all in favor, raise your hand and say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay. Bye bye.
Good,
Thank you, Marty.
you bet.
Lisa.
That's my favorite thing. All right, so every year we come to you guys to talk about the revenue neutral and ask we have permission to exceed that. And I'll just go over a little bit that I wrote up because I'm a reader, Christy. Okay, so exceeding the revenue neutral tax rate allows the district to maintain educational programs, attract and retain qualified teachers, provide transportation to all students, support student services, address inflation on supplies, equipment, and insurance cost. If the board elects not to exceed the revenue neutral tax rate, the county will review the tax revenue from the prior year and will calculate the mill levy to provide the same funding to the district. We're asking that the board approve the intent to exceed the revenue neutral rate to allow the district to preserve the quality of education, retain excellent staff, maintain safe facilities, and meet the expectations our community has for its schools. The proposed rate provides the resources necessary to continue serving students effectively while remaining mindful of taxpayers. Last year, we came to you guys with the proposal of 51.966 mils. This year, we're asking for less on the R&R form for 51.452 mils. That is what we would plan to submit our budget on, and that would be with no cushion. That's us really looking at expenditures and revenue and saying, this is truly what we are comfortable with, while trying to maintain all those things that I mentioned previously. So at this time, we would just have you guys approve to send in the R&R to the county clerk to notify them that we plan to exceed the revenue neutral tax rate.
The 51.452.
Yes.
That'll be the number that the county will put on all the tax notices that are going out. Again, in the past, we've asked for a little bit of cushion. We feel like we haven't asked for an increase in the submitted mill rate. We don't plan to do that again this year, so we just decided this year to put it out to our constituents what we really think it's going to be. Madam President, I make a motion to exceed the revenue neutral rate and our maximum proposed mill levy rate, 51.452. As presented.
Second.
Any discussion? Been moved by Braden and seconded by Michelle.
Yeah, so I guess just to make sure everybody understands, the revenue neutral rate itself, bad plan, but says that you can't raise your budget over what it is this year.
Right.
The mill levy is how we get that. So we're really talking about two different things here. Revenue neutral, you can't really expect any entity to stay flat or at this year's rate. Or, you know, you have your expenses go up, inflation, all that. So, but the mill levy, where we can control how much money we make, that's where we get our revenue. So I guess just to make sure everybody understood what we're talking about this. And this would ensure that we would not submit a mill rate higher than what we submitted last year.
Any other discussion?
And Brad, you said that you decided this year not to add the cushion that we typically.
Yes, and that is because we feel like, you know, there are some, part of the thing is we had tax. I don't really want to go through the long explanation, but about 3 years ago, we had an issue where the county changed how tax collections were reported. It actually didn't change the reality of our tax collections, but we had to report less tax collections in the current year, which raised our LOB mill levy and then impacted our other mill levies. And so that's one reason I've asked in the past for a cushion. The reality of it is we feel like we could even if there's an issue, which we don't anticipate because we haven't in the last couple, we can catch it with our bonded interest.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor, raise your right hand, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, so the date of our hearing is September 14th at 5:50. And will be held here in the boardroom. So right before the next board meeting, right? That, I believe so.
Yes.
Yes.
Right before the budget hearing, which is right before the board
Okay.
meeting.
Okay, does that say 5:50?
Yes.
I believe that's what, okay.
Yep, you got it correct.
5:50. Reading Jeff's stuff and I got it right here. Okay,
And you can also see the rest of the timeline for R&R processes.
okay, so Lisa, do you want to talk more about that or you good or Brad?
If you have questions, please ask.
Yeah, it's,
The
nothing
timeline?
has changed really on that this year from the years
So at our
past.
next meeting, we'll approve the publishing. The
Yes.
notice.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, I
Yes.
see. Okay,
Yeah,
yes.
so
All right.
August is where you guys approve us publishing it. It has to be in the newspaper so many days ahead of time of the hearing.
Right.
And then in September, the hearing will be R&R, then the budget, and then your regular.
Yes, yeah, I was getting a month ahead. Okay. All right. Any other?
Yeah.
So do I need to read any of that? Or we're good?
No, we're good. That's just for your guys' information, as well as we wanted it to be public information as well. So if anybody wants to show up, they can.
Very good.
There's no new updates right now. I'll hoping Friday to put something notes for you. Not yet. No.